The most unsettling realization of my life wasn't that I was alone. It was that no one actually knew me. Not really. People knew my role, my responsibilities, the version of me that functioned well in public. But the person underneath, the one with doubts, contradictions, unfinished thoughts, stayed hidden. Not because others refused to see him, because I never showed him. I learned early how to be agreeable, how to be useful, how to be predictable. Those traits make life easier. They also make you invisible. Over time, I became very good at presenting a version of myself that caused no friction. I listened more than I spoke. I nodded more than I questioned. And slowly, I confused being accepted with being known. The problem with that confusion is that acceptance without truth doesn't create connection. It creates distance. I was surrounded by people, family, colleagues, acquaintances who recognized my face and knew my name. And yet, there were thoughts I had never said out loud to anyone, not because they were dramatic or dark, but because they didn't fit the version of me everyone expected. That's how quiet loneliness forms, not from isolation but from performance. When you live as a character long enough, you forget where the acting ends and the real you begins. I told myself this was maturity, that adults don't need to be fully understood, that self-expression is something you grow out of. But suppression doesn't disappear with age. It accumulates. It settles into your body, into the tension you carry, into the exhaustion you can't explain, into the strange feeling that you're always slightly elsewhere, even when you're present. There's a moment that still stays with me. I was having a conversation with someone I'd known for years. We were talking icily, comfortably, and suddenly, I realized they wouldn't recognize me if I spoke honestly. That thought wasn't about them. It was about me. I had built relationships where my depth was unnecessary, where my complexity would have felt inconvenient. So I simplified myself, and people accepted that simplified version gladly. That's the quiet bargain many of us make. Be easier to deal with, and ask for less understanding. Over time, that bargain costs more than it gives. Because when no one truly knows you, praise feels hollow, advice feels misaligned, and connection feels thin. You start wondering if people would still care if they actually saw you, or if they only care because you've made yourself manageable. The tragedy is this: we don't hide because we're dishonest. We hide because we're afraid the truth would change how we're treated. And sometimes, that fear is justified. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. But when no one has it, something essential erodes. You begin to feel like a stranger inside your own life. I spent years wondering why I felt unseen. The answer was uncomfortable. I had made myself unseeable. Safety felt more important than honesty. Belonging felt more important than truth. And slowly, I traded recognition for approval. If you're listening to this, and something in you feels quietly hidden, not ignored, but undisclosed, understand this: being known requires risk, and risk is the one thing performance never allows. I don't regret being careful. I regret how long I stayed invisible to protect a version of myself that was never fully alive. No one truly knew me, and for a long time, that included me.